What up, everybody? Hope everybody having a blessed day. Waiting on Dr. Hammond to come in the building. We got a dope live for everybody. What's up, Dr. Hammond? Yup, just hit the request to join live. I'll bring you right up. Share with 10 people. Hope everybody having a blessed day. I know tension is a little high among people. There we go.
There you go.
Hey, what up, Dr. Hammond? How you
I'm
doing?
good. How are you?
Blessing and progressing. Every day above ground is a good one.
Yes, for
Uh,
sure.
so how have you been since the last time we've done it? I feel like it's definitely been a couple months at least.
Yeah, it's been a couple months staying busy per usual, but it's all good.
Has your book dropped or is it
Yes,
still?
September 10th. Yeah,
How's that been?
it's been amazing. It's been a whirlwind, but it's good. It's been good. It's been good.
So what are some, I did have a topic and all that,
Yeah,
but I'm okay with kind of diving into your book a little bit if you don't mind.
for sure.
What are some of, like, if you could give just a quick synopsis of it for those who may be unaware, and then also if you could give a quick synopsis of who you are, what it is that you do, and how you got started, and what that you do, and then going into your book if you
For
wouldn't mind.
sure. So, hey everyone on the live today. So I'm Dr. Nekeshia Hammond. I am a psychologist, author, speaker. I speak to different groups about burnout prevention, especially stress management to corporations and organizations. I also have a private practice in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, and I'm the author of 4 books and about to be 5 here soon. So I also write on different topics related to mental health and wellness. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, what was your book about? Your
So my
latest one.
last book, yeah, the last book, Mindset Training, Conquer Your Mind and the Rest Will Follow, is actually about holistic self-care. So it's how do we grow as people and make ourselves our number one priority. And the way we do that is by focusing on ourselves physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. So the book is divided into those parts with different strategies and tools. And I tell a little bit of my journey in there as well, in just hopes of making people take those steps to make sure we're taking care of ourselves so that we can show up powerfully for ourselves and for the people around us.
No, I think that that's dope, especially focusing on self-care, but then also breaking it up into those different aspects. So, like you said, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, different. So, can you talk a little bit about like what are some ways that a person can engage in self-care mentally versus emotionally versus spiritually for those who may be
Yeah,
unaware?
yeah, for sure. So it really starts with taking a step back to ask yourself, where do you start? Because we're all at different places in our self-care journey. So I am a huge advocate for self-reflection, which we don't do enough because we're so busy bombarded with the news, social media, our family, our friends, our work. However, when you do take that step and you really look at, where do I need to grow physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, you start to see that there's different strategies to put in place. So, for example, if you're struggling with self-talk, which would be, obviously the mental self-care, then you can start the process. It is a process, but to work on bettering your self-talk so that it's not as harsh, it's not as negative. Like you would hopefully be talking to yourself the way you would really talk to someone that you cared about, right? So that's like one example. Versus spiritual means different things to different people. It could be religious or not, but just really connecting, whether it's nature, universe, God, whomever, whatever higher power you may or may not believe in, but having those types of steps to grow your faith, if it's faith, but grow yourself as a person, right? And of course we know physical, eating and nutrition and those sorts of things, sleep, but really it's really taking a hard look at what are some of the things that we need to work on within ourselves and then taking those steps to do that.
No, I think that that's extremely powerful. And if you see me, my eyes going down, it's to write a thought down
Oh,
so
all
I can get it out of my
good.
head, so I can actively listen. No, because I don't want people. Sometimes I just communicate that so people don't be like, "Dang, this person's rude. He's not
No,
listening to what
not
I'm saying."
at all.
But I'm doing it so I can actually stay listening. But no, that was a important thing that you said. And in regards to the negative self-talk, a lot of times I tell people if that is an area of self-care for you, if you have negative self-talk, a strategy that I give people is a lot of time with negative self-talk, it's the tone of voice that it's really convincing us or amping up our nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times if you can just shift the tone of voice to something that you can't really take serious, I always tell people to do like a baby babbling or like the little Pinocchio voice, like I'm a real boy. And
Yeah.
it's just like once you take that the tone and you shift the tone, a lot of times that'll take the emotional charge from the negative self-talk. Or I always tell people to think of like the sexiest voice that they know. You know, if you're
Mhm.
heterosexual, if you're a male, think of the sexiest woman voice that you know. It
Yeah.
just kind of makes you just like, or like the girl, think of like the lady, the late night radio talk show host, the deep voice guy or whatever, Billy D. Williams
Yeah.
or whatever. And when you're
Yeah.
like in that negative self-talk, just imagine that voice
Yeah.
talking to you. And a lot of
Yeah.
times that takes the emotional charge and people are able to hear the wisdom without beating our nervous system up
Yes.
constantly over time.
Yes. That's a huge thing right now. I'm glad you mentioned nervous system because I've been doing a lot more research into that as well. And there's so much that we can do to like control our bodies like physically because that affects us mentally too, and we can't always be in a state of fight or flight. Like it's so ridiculously unhealthy for you to constantly be in the like, what do I do next, what do I do now, I'm so anxious, I'm so nervous, I got to do this. Like we, I mean, there's appropriate times for that, of course, but we can't have our bodies on that level, the blood pressure up, the heart rate up for long periods of time because there's a lot of chronic physical health conditions that can happen as well as of course on the mental health side, depression, anxiety, all sorts of other issues. So we have to work on calming activities to get our nervous systems regulated.
Yes, and that's an important thing you talked to,
Mhm.
and we talked about this for a brief second last time with excitation transfer. So your brain can't tell the difference between something you vividly imagine and an actual experience. So when we ruminate over things that make us mad or frustrate us or depress us or make us fearful or whatever the emotion that it's invoking within us, our nervous system is taking it as if that's happening to us again and again and again and
Yeah.
again in that moment over and over again. So what she's talking about is the wear and tear on our particular bodies because when you're doing this because your brain can't tell the difference that you're just imagining it or you're just
Yes.
remembering a memory, like it'll amp your nervous system up, it'll amp your heart rate up, so your blood pressure will start increasing, you might start sweating, you might your digestive system might get thrown off, your sleep might get thrown off, all of these different systems might get thrown off just because of how you are remembering a certain memory because again your brain can't tell the difference. So I
Yeah.
agree completely, it's important to learn how to bring ourselves down so it doesn't do as much wear and tear on our nervous system because I believe that's one of the reasons why bodies gives out at such a younger rate when we get older and we're not living as long is because we're constantly wearing and tearing our nervous system over and over again unintentionally, of
Yeah.
course, through just replaying memories of the past that frustrate us, make us sad, make us fearful, amp us up in any way.
Yeah. And actually, I love how someone in the comments said meditation changed my life. So good. But it goes both ways. So there's the positive side of that too, though, which is
Yes.
why, like someone said, meditation or visualizing yourself in positive situations or beautiful memories you have. Like that's something I do a lot because I travel a lot and I just am really great, beautiful places. So when I need to be in a calmer state of mind, that's something I maybe think about, right? Because, like you said, sometimes your brain doesn't really understand, like, this is a real thing happening right now to you versus the past. So it does go both ways. If you're reliving a bunch of trauma, you're constantly thinking about it, all the things are happening in your body physically to you that are harmful to you. Or if you're choosing to remember positive things, visualize, meditation, like those sorts of things. There's plenty of guided meditation apps now or YouTube or wherever you want to get that from where you can listen to that. But those are the type of things that, again, can calm your physical body down and also mentally get you into a calmer space.
I love that. She does that to go to a
That's good.
place with memory that felt good. That is good. And that's one of the main ways that I tell clients to generate whatever emotion that they need. So, like, whatever emotion you're needing in the particular moment. Don't try to, they say, fake it until you make it. When there is ways that you can really, like you said, use it in a positive way.
Yes.
So just think about the last time I just need to feel compassion in this moment. Okay, think about a time in which you really felt compassionate. Once you got that memory in your mind, go back and relive it. So don't just see yourself over there living it, kind of step into the memory and see it out of your own eyes like you're reliving that particular moment. See what you saw in that moment, hear what you heard, and then the feelings of compassion will genuinely start actually coming up.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing for any emotion, confidence, empathy, whatever it is that you actually need, because you have genuinely felt that in moments throughout your life. It doesn't
Oh,
mean
for
that you are
sure.
constantly have stayed in that
Right.
particular emotional state, but as long as your nervous system is familiar with it, you can just go back to those particular memories. And if your mind, because it can't tell the difference between something you vividly imagine and an actual experience, if you can get it vividly in your mind enough, the feelings will come. And it really doesn't take a long time. Like within a couple minutes, the feelings will follow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And another thing, because we're talking about self-care, a lot of times, and you were talking about the importance of meditation and taking time to have or build positive expectancy in yourself. But a lot of times people feel self-care is selfish, and I
Yes.
try to tell them that it's really the more you pour into yourself, the more overflow you're able to give to the people
Yes.
that you care about. But a lot of they have that internal conflict
Hmm.
of thinking like, well, if I pour into myself, or if I give to myself, or if I stop and slow down and I'm not always moving and all that, then I'm doing something wrong or
Yeah.
I'm being selfish. And can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. And for those people who think like that, like please know, like I really, really get it because I used to think that way for a long time, actually the majority of my life. I really used to think that way. So I totally get it. Like I don't fault anyone that may be in that space, but like you said, when you it's self-care is not selfish because when you show up as the best version of who you are, not just for you, it's going to affect the people around you. So your family members, your friends, your coworkers in the community, whomever else, they want the best version of you around them. They don't want the stressed out, overwhelmed, overworked, sleep deprived. They don't really want that. Who wants that? Right? But they want the best version of you, whatever that looks like for you. So that's why it's also important for you to be taking care of yourself and growing as a person physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and taking that journey.
No, I agree completely with you. And the reason why self-care is so important, I believe, is in addition to what you're saying, is because think that if a lot of people prioritize self-care, that they would have a lot less conflicts in family, conflicts in relationships, conflicts with your kids, because willpower is a limited resource. So it don't matter how much you got, you know what I'm saying? We all start with a fresh tank every single day, but regardless of like gas, if we put a gas in our car, we can only go so many places before the car stops and we need to refuel. So every day we get a fresh tank of willpower, but we're constantly depleting it all day, just using it doing stuff that we really don't feel like doing. So if you're refraining from snapping on a customer that was just rude to you, if
Yeah.
you're refraining from pulling out your phone all day because you want to check a message or something like that, if you're just resisting leaving work and you just gotta force yourself to just stay there, you're doing all these things and that's depleting your willpower. So they talk about what looks like laziness is often exhaustion. So when you come home and you don't got any willpower, and normally you will be able to restrain yourself and not snap and not lose your cool, but because your willpower is so low, as soon as a family member does something, next thing you know, you're triggered, and then y'all are all so it's like the more you're really able to pour into yourself, the less willpower you're actually using throughout the day. And therefore you have more restraint, I believe. So you're not snapping on your kids, you're not snapping on your wife or your husband or whatever it is. So it's not really selfish, it's more so the selfless thing to do.
Yes. I completely agree with that. And in the comments it says, I also believe, or wait, I feel like there's a misunderstanding for a lot of spiritual believers who are taught God first, but I also do believe God wants us to take care of ourselves too. Absolutely. Yes.
Great.
Yes, like you can have both. I've always said that many, many times. You can have your faith and you can put yourself first, meaning you can take care of your physical health. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be emotionally healthy. You deserve to live an abundant life. We deserve all those things, but like you said, we have to get out the mindset that everything else comes above us and we put ourselves last. That's not true.
Yeah, and then we
It's just
got
not
this
true.
thing of feeling like that rest is weakness or rest is
Yes.
like unproductive, and it's not true.
It,
Can you speak a little bit
it,
to that?
Yeah, and it's literally, and I'm not just saying this, there's plenty of research on it. It's literally the opposite. And again, I do come from a mindset. I used to think like that too. I was like, just go, 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 be a almost a practically a machine, don't take no breaks, don't stop because it's lazy or unproductive. And the research literally shows the opposite. So when you take the breaks, your brain needs a break. When you reset and recharge, you actually can be more productive in what you're doing. It actually leads to more productivity. You can get more done because your brain is going to shut down. Like if you don't take the breaks that you need, your brain and or body is going to shut down for you. Like that's just how it happens, and then it might not be on the timeline that you want, right? So instead you plan out, like, when do I need to take these brain breaks, as I call them? When do you need to reset? When do you need to recharge? I'm a huge advocate of reminding people to take a minimum of 60 seconds a day for yourself, 1 minute to reset and recharge your brain. And your life really can start to change for the better. And you can be more productive, which most of us want, anyways.
Facts. And
Yeah.
fellas, start listening to the ladies that's in your life. We don't really like going to doctors and all this other stuff like that.
Yes.
But my lady had invited me to, she had a doctor's or eye appointment yesterday. And so she was like, "You want me to set you one too?" I was like, "I'll go with you, whatever." I ain't never been to one. What? And so like I went because I felt like I've been having like a lot of eye pain anyway. But
Yeah.
anyway, they tested me. I got still perfect vision. I got 20/20 vision. But since I'm always looking at screens and
Yeah.
lights, my eyes are extremely dry. I didn't know that I was suffering from dry eyes. So they gave me
Wow.
this like, or they told me to get this solution to put into my, and immediately, I'm telling you, as soon as I put that drop in my eyes and my body just felt so much better. I got so much better sleep last night because typically by the end of the night, when I close my eyes feel like they're doing like this, and I didn't know that I was suffering from, again, severe dry eyedness because I'm always looking at screens and I'm always looking at lights because I record so much content.
Yeah.
And like literally, those men, I stay on them. I keep them drops with me now. Again, I just got them yesterday, but man, over the last day and a half, it has been a game changer. So I think that
Yeah.
that's relevant to the
Good for
self care
you.
conversation. Like,
Yeah, that's good. Someone said in here too, they were talking about a thing about like how you don't have to be in survival mode. I think they said something like, if I'm in survival mode, I feel helpless. And it's true, like you said, like that's a great thing. Like we don't there's no like trophy for suffering. You don't have to be in that. We don't have to be in survival mode. You are allowed to thrive. That
yes,
is a great thing to have and to strive for, right? To live that life again of abundance, whatever that means to you in different areas of your life. And also, when you get to that state, it's so interesting because I've found personally even that the healthier you are, like when you really get to healthier and healthier states of being, it really honestly is not just about you at that point. You, because you're where you need to be at, then you're like, okay, who else can I help around me? And help comes in different formats, but you find people around you to maybe spread whatever you learned, right? Like, hey, why don't you try this to be better in whatever area that they may be struggling? So you're also gaining this information and spreading the joy, spreading the message, spreading the hope to other people too. So again, I know we said that earlier, but like there's just so many benefits of being in a space where you can help people, and there's so many benefits. Take care of yourself, y'all.
no facts.
Go to the eye
And
doctor and get your eye drops. You know what I mean?
Yo, facts. And really, I'm now curious to go into all doctors because I'm like, I'm a little open to it now because literally it was immediate. As soon as them things
Yeah,
hit my eye.
yeah,
And it's funny because as I was in there, like, he was like, "Oh, you got perfect vision and all that." I was just like, "Yeah, but my eyes is still like hurting." Then he
yeah.
flashed like a light in my eye. And then immediately my eyes started watering. So I went like this. And he was like, "You got dry eyes?" And I was like, "Nah, bro, I ain't never had." He was like, "Well, watered eyes is like a sign of dryness." And I was just like, "Nah, I didn't know that." Well, yeah, my eyes water all the time, dude. I didn't. And so literally that was like a game changer. So yes, hardcore self-care or hardcore self-care.
Yes.
But something that's kind of relevant also, it deleted your messages. I appreciated you speaking on that.
Oh,
No problem. And also, I got about another 11 minutes of her time. If y'all got a question, throw it in the chat and we will try to answer it in a timely fashion. But something that's relevant to what we're talking about is maladaptive instincts or maladaptive behaviors. So, in certain type of environments, like when we learn these instincts, like for instinct to just go, 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 that instincts in us that just want to just push, push, push. For certain time periods in our life, that was actually beneficial to us.
Yeah.
So it was an adaptive behavior, but then it starts to become maladaptive once it just starts to give us diminishing returns, I
Mhm.
guess. So can you speak a little bit about knowing how to identify when something is maladaptive, like when an instinct's in us? Because sometimes when a person feels like when they have an instinct or impulse to do something, they could misconstrue that as intuition or feel like that they're supposed to do that or that's just who they are, and not really knowing that that could just be a maladaptive trait.
Yeah, I was chuckling because I'm reading the comments. Someone said I'm Jamaican, so we were taught to work three jobs. Yeah, so my mom's side of the family is from Jamaica. I know what you mean, and my dad's side is from Ethiopia. Anyways, that's a whole nother live. But it's true that regardless of what culture you may come from, that we are taught certain things, and I want to emphasize because I feel like I've had this conversation 500 times in the last, like, especially couple years. You can have both things. You can work hard. Like, I am not here. I'm a huge advocate of self care. I've never told any corporation or organization, hey, your employees need to just stop what they're doing, chill on the couch, have all the self care, and not do their work, right? Like, we're not, I don't advocate for that, but I'm saying have your work hard, perseverance, hustle hard, and all those things, and make sure you're putting the self-care into place as well, because like you said, that trait of going hard could, it is a great trait. However, it is maladaptive when that's all you are doing. You will run yourself into the ground. You can only go so fast without taking a break, without nurturing yourself, mind, body, spirit. Like, we need nurturing. You deserve those things as well, and it makes you better at what you're trying to do anyway. But it's an and conversation. This is not an or. I feel like one of the things I dislike about what I see sometimes about self-care in the media is it's almost like this, like, go on this huge luxurious vacation, watch Netflix all day. I think there was something called bed rotting, like just lay in bed all day. And I'm like, yes, you can do those things once in a while, but it's more about a mindset of having the healthy habits into place in whatever role you're playing. Because for me, with the gazillion things that I have going on in a very hectic, busy, crazy schedule, I do work a lot of hours. I do have a lot of projects that I'm involved with, but also, and I am taking care of myself better than ever before. So again, I just want to remind people this is an and conversation, not an or.
Yeah, and you're slowing down so you can speed up. Like she
Exactly.
said, it's
Yeah.
actually productive to slow down sometimes. It's productive to engage in self-care. And like she also said, self-care doesn't have to mean sitting and not doing anything.
No.
Self-care could be, whatever brings you joy, whatever brings you life. Self-care could be, going on a hike and all that. So you're
Yeah.
enjoying nature and getting fresh air and doing all these other things while you're actually engaging in, some exercise. So it's like you can really use your mind to be very creative when it comes to self-care. Self-care could be you painting. Self-care could be, again, you just going on a walk. Self-care could be just a million different things. It all just depends on you, your nervous
Of
system, how
course.
you're wired, your particular experience. So again, it don't gotta be like she said, you laying like what was it, Willy Wonka, Charlie from the Charlie Factory, his granddad that just said let him bed for like 40 years or something like that. You ain't got to do that. We ain't got to be that extreme.
What did you say? Lay in bed? Is that what you said for 40 years?
Yeah, that's what the granddad from Charlie, Willy Wonka and the Charlie Factory. And then when Charlie got the little gold ticket, it could go see Willy Wonka. Then his granddad got the bed and started walking
Oh.
again. But he was in bed for like 40 years. He had to learn to walk again just to go to the Charlie Factory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't want to do
No, let's
that.
not do that.
Oh man, did you have any topic that you wanted to talk about or any point that you wanted to make that I didn't ask about in particular?
I just want to remind people again that it's not self care is not selfish, and also to work on making yourself your number one priority, because it is a mindset shift for a lot of us. We have been taught to put everything else above us, like to get everything else done. And not that those things are not important, but if you are trying to live a healthy life, live long, be happy, be fulfilled, which you're allowed to have those things, then you really have to start prioritizing your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health more. So I encourage people, again, even if you're at the place where you're like, I need to take a baby step right now, that counts too, right? Like, don't get into it's. I've seen a lot of people get into a place of self blame, and then you kind of ruminate and you go on a spiral, and then you don't do anything at all. So instead of that, work on saying, okay, let me take some baby steps and just celebrate some small wins.
Mm.
Like that counts too. We don't always have to be in leap mode. We can be in like, I'm going to take a baby step today because it's just, there's a lot going on sometimes, right, that we're dealing with. But I just want to encourage people and leave people with that, because it's sometimes, a lot of times actually, it's the small habits that you start to put into place that have the biggest impacts in your life.
No, I agree completely. If somebody wants to get your book, how can they actually go about doing that?
Yeah, it's easy. It's on Amazon. Amazon's probably the easiest, but it's on Amazon, Walmart.com, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million. So anywhere that they sell books online,
Oh, okay. You don't do
essentially.
author copies and all that. You don't do the selling
No,
them
yeah, no,
yourself.
it's not through my. Well, it's yeah. I have a website about the book, but it's on the online retailer platforms.
Okay, okay. I ain't mad at you at all. Do
Yeah,
you have any like courses or any other products or services or anything like that that you offer
I
to the people?
I do. I started a course related to the book actually. Excuse me, as well. That's at mindsettrainingclass.com. And then the book information about the book is at mindsettrainingbook.com, and the class is on yeah, the class website. So yeah, and I guess I'll share it. Yeah, I'm getting ready to release a second edition very, very soon of mindset training, because there was stuff I wanted to put in the first book, but I didn't want people to have a 400-page book and be overwhelmed. So I do have a part two, but that's coming out soon. But I will let
It's
you
going
know.
to be a second edition
Yes,
or it's going to be a deluxe version of the first
it's
one?
an expanded edition of the first one, but
Okay,
I'm
okay,
calling it
okay. That's what's
expanded
up.
second edition.
Are you doing an
So yeah,
audiobook?
I'm going to be working on that as well. Yep.
Okay, that's what's
Yep.
up.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely look forward to reading the book. Do you know when the expanded version is going to drop or when the anticipated date is?
We don't have the exact date yet, but very soon. That's what I know. I'm working on
Well,
finishing up everything. So
if you are listening or if you're watching the playback and anything that she said actually resonated with you and you want to get her book, you can hit the link in her bio and it will take you to where to get her books on the different platforms. Or if you wanted to get her course, then the link in her bio will actually direct you to that as well. Dr. Hammond, as always, it's definitely been a pleasure. I'm trying to honor your time. We had 30 minutes. So, I feel like we made the best of this 30 minutes. Hopefully, we got some value. I got a lot of value from this. Hopefully, y'all got some value. If y'all could just comment some fire or yes in the comments. But I'm extremely grateful for you taking the time. Anywhere I could be of service to anything that you got going on, please let me know and I will do so. And if you could just close us out this last little minute and a half with just some words of encouragement or any insight that you would like to leave us with.
yeah, I think yeah, just closing out, I want to remind everyone that despite whatever it is that's happening in the world, whatever it is that's happening on social media, that's happening in the news, that's happening in your family life or your personal life, work on continuing to get to a place of inner peace. You don't have to be at a place of inner peace every single day of your life. That's completely unrealistic. But though, if you work on constantly being in a state of how can I get back to a place of inner peace, which you deserve to have, you can have a calmer, more fulfilling, and happier life, which you deserve. But it's having that mindset shift of going more into a place of gratitude and working on your inner peace and making sure that your mental health is your priority.
Hey, well, we definitely appreciate that. And see, I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying? I read a lot, but that don't mean that I'm a perfect reader. So, but we appreciate the fire. So she got some value from it. And then whoever said that they missed the entire chat, I'm gonna put the replay up. So don't worry, you'll be able to catch the replay. Dr. Hammond, I appreciate you. I hope you have a blessed day and hope to do this again in maybe a couple weeks or so.
For sure. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Have a blessed night.
All right, you
Yeah.
too. Bye.